is doing well. I am Lilian, and let me share my screen. All right. Perfect. All right, so my name is Lilian, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Gitbook today, and I'll start by introducing myself. So, all right, I'm Lilian. I have been working in people for quite a few years now. I started in the world of corporate HR in that tiny, beautiful country that is my home country called Panama. And I worked for big companies like Maersk, like Belcorp, like Marsh during my time there. I left about 10 years ago to study an MBA in San Francisco. And after that, I continued my journey in people in Dubai, where I lived for 4 years, working for Honeywell. And then I landed in the world of fast growth startups with Ironhack in Spain. So I moved to Spain about 4 years ago. And after that, I thought there must be a better way for me and what I want out of life. And so I ended up in the world of fully remote. And right now I am the head of people here at Gitbook. And Gitbook is a fully remote company. I'll get to a little bit more about the team, but we have team members in many different countries in North America, Europe, and Asia. And definitely, I've never looked back. I'm happy to be in the world of remote. It is fantastic, and yeah, and I will explain exactly how it works in Gitbook too. And before I start talking about Gitbook, I get this question a lot, so I'm just going to start with this. I get the question of, well, why did you join Gitbook? I've been in Gitbook for about 6 months now, and basically I joined for 3 main reasons that hopefully I will get to transmit to you during my presentation. But I joined because of potential, because of impact, and because of flexibility. So from the moment I saw about Gitbook and I had conversations with the team, it was really, really clear to me that Gitbook has huge potential in terms of the space where we operate, in terms of our product and the traction that we've had, in terms of the team that is working in this company. And I definitely know that we're going to continue to be very successful. The second thing is that the impact. We are at a point where we're a relatively small company, right? We're about 35 people, and we are at a point in which there's a lot that's already done, but there's so much more to be done. And that opportunity to come in and just start building things and improving things and really have a say on and an influence on how we do things in the company, I think that is absolutely incredible. And then the third one is the flexibility. We are fully remote. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm from Panama. I'm living in sunny Valencia. My husband is from South Africa, and we travel, right? So this year I spent 2.5 months in Panama. Last year I went for about 2 months to South Africa as well. And obviously Gitbook is truly remote, which isn't always the case when you hear remote, right? No, we're truly remote. We're mostly async, and it allows me to basically be where I want to be. So that's why I joined Gitbook. I will share a little bit more about the company now, but hopefully you will get to see these 3 things: potential, impact, and that flexibility in how we work. All right, so a bit more about Gitbook. And by the way, I think we're going to take questions towards the end, but I do want to make sure that it's interactive. So if I'm going too fast, too slow, or if you want me to just like dig in a little bit deeper in any of the points, let me know. Just send a message in the chat, and I can definitely do that. Okay, so Gitbook. Our mission is to empower technical teams by seamlessly integrating knowledge management into their existing asynchronous workflows. Why? Why? What is the situation that we're seeing? We're seeing that technical teams with high quality documentation are actually 3 times more efficient, but 75% technical teams report having poorly written or inaccessible documentation. And I think obviously we're focusing on technical teams because that is our focus as a company, but I'm sure that everybody in this call has experienced something similar where it's not easy to find documentation or it's not there, and we end up following very inefficient processes. And obviously Gitbook helps with this. So we mimic the powerful developer workflow and provide an out-of-the-box centralized knowledge hub for technical teams. And we embed knowledge throughout the entire development lifecycle. So there's collaboration that's designed to match that Git flow used daily in GitHub and GitLab. We're integrated with technical stack. We empower teams to make faster decisions, and I mentioned the integrations as well. We're the gold standard for public documentation. So we have 70 million plus page views per month and over 100,000 technical documents published, which I think is just pretty amazing. And the most important thing is that we're actually loved and used by more than 80,000 technical team members from more than 9,000 organizations, like some of the ones that you see here. A little bit, a few figures and stats here, but we have 88,000 monthly active users, 17 million monthly unique visitors. There has been about 1.5 million documents created in Gitbook. We are about 8 million ARR and 8,500 global customers, give or take, about that. So one of the things that I always found fascinating about Gitbook as well is that we've done all of this with very limited cost to acquire customers, because up until now, we actually haven't quite had like a dedicated marketing function. It's something that we are building now, but all of this has happened pretty organically because people find us, they sign up, they like us, they buy from us, they share, and that has led to where we are now. And I think that is fascinating, and for me, that also speaks a lot to that potential that I was talking about early on. Because obviously it's a product that people love and it's set up in a way that it is really adding value, right? All right, this is about Gitbook as a company. I'm gonna pause for a second here, just gonna take a look at everybody. I'll carry on unless there are any comments, questions. All right, awesome. Perfect, so the Gitbook team. Let's talk about the team. I want you to meet our beautiful team. This is part of our lovely Gitbook team. And by the way, I know we have Sharon in the call as well, who's in the team, and it's so lovely to see. But we are about 35 team members from 19 different nationalities in more than 15 countries across North America, Europe, and Asia. And we've been fully remote since 2019. So as you can see, it is a pretty diverse group of people, which is really great. So right now we are split we have about 11 people between product and engineering. Actually, this number has gone up because we are hiring, and we just onboarded 2 more people into the product team. Between operations and support, we have about 11 people, which is our support team, our people team, our finance team, operations. Sales and customer success, we have about 8 people. And then marketing, we have 1 person, and expanding this function as well. And beyond the numbers, I just love it. I love showing the pictures, because beyond the numbers, I mean, it really is a fantastic team. And I've been in the company for 6 months, and I had this fantastic experience. When I was doing the interviews, I could definitely see throughout the interviews the caliber of talent in the company. But then I started working in the company, and it was really validated that people here are extremely smart, that everybody is extremely supported. It is a fun group of people, and it really is a pleasure to work with everybody here. And these are just some pictures from our last offsite, which we did in Barcelona earlier this year, and some of the team members and actually family members who also joined us for the offsite. And then in terms of the team, where we're going in next year, we are going to continue focusing on growing the team on product engineering. We want to make sure that we continue doing product-led growth in an efficient way. And like I said, we are rolling out a marketing function, which we haven't had so far, and we're going to promote that retention and expect expansion with customer success. So our team is going to grow. We don't know the exact figures, but we definitely are going to continue growing. And right now, we'll get to that, but right now we have about 10 open positions. I think we've onboarded about 10 people since I joined, which is the last 6 months, and we're continuing to grow. So we're going to keep growing our marketing team, our product and engineering team, and just operations in general. All right. So what it's like working at Gitbook. This is the other part that I talked about, the flexibility. So we have flexible work and we work async first. So our vision is basically to have a future where anywhere works. So we are working to make remote teams better and more efficient. And obviously we walk the talk. So that means that we obviously use our product, but we are as well remote. We are focusing on how we collaborate async in a more effective and efficient way. We are definitely our own guinea pigs, to put it somehow. And we are a remote first company. So that means that people can choose how they work, when they work, and where they work. So what does it mean? It basically means, we trust you. We trust people in the company. So we do not track or log hours. We do not monitor where people are. We don't measure contribution by the time that people spend online. We don't want our team members working unsustainable hours either. But it also means that there's a responsibility that comes with that, and expectation for our teams, which is that you manage your time wisely, that you communicate your availability to people that you're working closely with, that you let the team and your manager know if you feel like you are at capacity or above capacity or working hours that are not sustainable, that we all default to async communication whenever possible, and that we measure ourselves as well by the impact of the work that we do rather than how much time we are online. And for all this to work, there are some key principles that we aim to follow, documenting everything, makes things simpler and faster, oversharing, sharing as much as possible, focusing on output versus input, thinking ahead as well. I mean, we are growing, which means that we can't focus only on the short term. We always want to think what's coming ahead and build for that. And always assuming positive intent. I think this is the golden rule for any remote setting, is that it's easy to get lost in translation, especially when we're looking at text, Slack, etc. We can't quite communicate tone and intent in the same way that we could in person. So we always assuming positive intent, knowing that everybody's doing their best, and always clarifying when there's or something isn't clear. We still meet online and offline. So I showed you some pictures of our company offsite. So once or twice a year, we meet, we get together for a few days, we do team bonding, and then we do some company updates, some workshops as well. On the online side, we do a town hall every month. And basically there's an update on the company overall, what's going on with metrics, etc. Key things that happened over the past month. And then every week we have, so twice a week, we all get together and we do a team meeting and we do a show and tell. So this is just to basically share what has happened in the last week, and information that's going to be relevant for the whole team. But as you can see, I think that the key thing that I want to share here is that we are mostly async, right? We have 2 meetings where the whole team gets together a week. Other than that, obviously, we as teams, we also have our team meetings. We have our one-on-ones with our managers, but it is very flexible in how we work and when we work. All right, our culture. So it really all starts with our values. Our values are ambition, ownership, accountability, caring, growing ourselves, being genuine, team player, and architect. I'm not gonna walk you through each of these. This is definitely something you can find on our career side, which I will share after the presentation. But this is both what guides our behaviors and a little bit aspirational there as well on how we want to continue behaving as we grow. And this is basically, I would say at the core of the culture at Gitbook. Over 90% of our team members report having a positive experience at Gitbook. So one of the things I did when the first month that I joined is I met everybody one-on-one, and just kind of checked in and saw what was working, what wasn't working, how did they perceive the culture. And it was unlike some past experiences I've had where, sometimes you come and there's a lot of burning platforms. I was very pleasantly surprised that most of the team really reported that things were working well, right? And they were having a positive experience, which is fantastic. And there's a lot of optimization. I'm not saying that things are perfect; they never are. We'll get to that. But the team is definitely reporting a positive experience. And then I asked them, how do you describe our culture? And this is what came up in order of how often it came up in conversation. They said it's supportive, approachable, friendly peers, everybody's willing to help. It's flexible, truly remote, so we can choose when and where we work. Transparent, there's open communication and feedback is listened to in action. It's a safe space where it's okay to fail. We can ask questions and there's no judgment. We care about people and treat them fairly, and there is autonomy and trust by default. And then on the flip side, this is the we're not perfect side. We can always get better, and we are working towards improving, always getting better. And some of the things that the team said that we can improve on, and that you might find frustrating if you join the team, is that we're still defining what success looks like for each person. And I would even say for the company as a whole, right? That direction for the company as a whole, this can create a little bit of confusion sometimes. We need more opportunities to socialize and connect beyond work. And this is something that we're starting to do for sure. So we're planning for the end of the year, we're planning a little celebration all together, and just having a few more virtual events too. We're working on being more agile and just iterating quicker and being more focused. So one of the things that the team says is that, sometimes in the past we have taken a little bit too long to plan or execute on a few things, and we definitely need to be more agile. And it's something that we have been changing in the past few months as well. And I know this is a little bit ironic, but ironically, we are not the best at documentation. It can also be, obviously, we have high standards for ourselves. But this is something that we can do better at, and that we've also been working towards in the last couple of months. But yeah, just documenting and making sure that all the information is accessible and that we're collaborating well. All right. Okay, and then I'm gonna jump here actually. And I should have done this earlier because I'm talking about Gitbook, but I actually haven't shown you Gitbook. This is Gitbook. And I did this little space here just to kind of show. Afterwards, I'll just write down all the things that I need to follow up with if there's something else you want to see. But this is basically where I spend like 60% of my day. Obviously, we use Gitbook internally, and yeah, I mean, as you can see, you can definitely explore by yourself. But this is the way that it looks. You can import content from different places. You can use different templates. Like I said, we are focused a lot on that technical audience. So you can see a lot on RFCs, API docs, etc. There's internal wiki as well. Obviously, we have our handbook in Gitbook. And this is the integration piece. You can sync with GitHub, with GitLab, etc. And one of the things I love, because I've used other internal documentation or internal knowledge management tools, is that you can kind of embed. So you can create groups, or you can create pages, and you can embed pages within pages, which really allows me to organize information well. But yeah, I'll let you explore Gitbook on your own time, because I can go on and on about our platform and our tool. And then I will share a bit more about our process and the roles that we have open at the moment. So this is the page where we have all our open roles. You can see it. It is in Gitbook, obviously. You can see more about our values, which I briefly touched on, a bit more about our teams. So one of the things that I think is relevant that I can highlight is some of the benefits that you would get by working at Gitbook. Some of the more intangible ones is that impact piece. Obviously, we're building a product that really helps a lot of people, and that the way that I see it, and what is really exciting for me personally, is that we're really creating the future of work, right? We're helping build that future of work, and how we can continue to work asynchronously and remotely effectively. And that for me is extremely motivating. You will be able to move faster, to be able to learn in an environment of a company that is growing. You're obviously going to be able to work remotely wherever you want. We have flexible time off policy. The flexibility is kind of everywhere, right? But basically, we encourage team members to take about 40 days of paid time off plus holidays. So you will have plenty of time off to enjoy. You have a dedicated budget to set up your home office. There's a budget for a co-working space if you choose to go to a co-working space. We give 16 weeks of parental leave as well, and just that amazing team that we have. And everybody in the company has equity as well. That's another thing that's not mentioned here. The interview process, the process might change slightly from role to role, but in general terms, it starts with a conversation with someone in the people team. Then you would have a conversation with the hiring manager for that role, the manager for the team. Normally, we have some sort of case study or exercise. This will depend on the role. I'll give you an example. For instance, we're hiring a talent acquisition partner, and the case study is basically for them to spend a couple of hours on putting together a recruitment plan for a role. So this is just an example, but it'll depend on each different role. For the technical roles, obviously, it's something that has to do with that technical knowledge. And then there will, in most cases, be an interview with peers or different members from either the team that you would be joining or some of the other teams that you would be working closely with. And at the end, there is a conversation with either Sami, who's our CEO, sometimes it's Sarah, who's our COO, but usually one last kind of meet the founder, meet the CEO conversation. Our roles have the process in them. So if you're curious about any specific process, you can just go here where it says what's next, and you'll see the specific process for each of the roles, how much time you're gonna dedicate to the process, what to expect next, etc. And in terms of the roles that we are looking for right now, we're looking for a bunch of roles in engineering, in product, in marketing. So we're looking for a senior backend engineer. We're looking for a security engineer, product engineer, a product marketing manager, a product designer, a support engineer, talent acquisition partner. We're looking for a DevRel, a content marketing manager, and a visual designer. All right, I'll share this so you can just click that link and see the different roles. And that is it from me. That is what I wanted to share. I know, and I wanted to leave plenty of time for Q&A and just answer some of those questions directly, but I will wrap up with an open invitation to join the team. And really just if you're a person that's similar to me, really values that potential, really values that impact, really values that flexibility, I can tell from my personal experience, I have definitely found that at Gitbook, and I'm sure that you would as well. And yeah, we're building the future of work, so it's an exciting journey that we're following here. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Lilian.
Stop sharing now.
So if you stop sharing, then I can spotlight. Yeah, so I've got a few questions. Thank you so much. That was loads of information there. And it's great to get the sort of feel for it. I think you've definitely given us a sense of how you guys work together, and I think that's key to your work, and that asynchronous and the flexibility and those sort of the values that you included there as well. And we put in those links so people can actually click in as you were presenting there, and they can check those out. I do have a few questions that have come in, and I'm sort of grouping them here. So I might just put them to you straight, and we'll take them one by one. And we'll finish in 15 minutes because people have lunch to get to and meetings and stuff. So I'll go first, sort of a basic question. Are all of your roles full-time, or is there any possibility for part-time or job sharing? And are they completely remote from anywhere in the world, or are there certain jurisdictions where you don't hire?
Yeah. So right now, the roles that we have open at the moment are full-time roles. We don't have any roles that are part-time right now. This might change in the future, but I don't think we have any plans to open up any part-time roles, to be honest, in the next 6 months or so. So right now, based on what we're trying to accomplish, we really need our team to be full-time. In terms of jurisdictions, I guess this is a good question, because it also leads me to talking a little bit about the way that we hire, right? So obviously we are a fully remote company. That means we don't have legal entities in every country where we hire people, and we partner with what is called an employer of record. So basically it's a company that is set up in the specific country. They have a legal entity, and then Gitbook, and then it's remote.com, you might know them. We partner, and basically everybody's hired through remote, right? Obviously we are responsible for the employment relationship, or everything that has to do with the person. Gitbook is responsible, we are accountable, but legally on paper, then the employer of record, like the name says, is the one that will do the legal hiring, right? Limitation that we have, we can hire in countries where remote has an entity, basically.
Okay, thank you so much. Good.
Okay.
And it's a complex infrastructure that's still developing every few months, as more and more companies go remote first, and they use this technology. So it's always just interesting to get an idea of where things are at. So thank you so much. Got a question. It's kind of on the experience and about maybe people coming in from different backgrounds. So I know this is a question that comes up in JobsCup quite a lot. So a few people have said they're interested in UX design roles, or they're currently doing customer support and analysis, but they're interested in moving into the people side of things. And then people have sort of varying levels of experience. I think the product design role on the Gitbook site says 4+ years experience. So just maybe speak to a little bit of, do you have this sort of people coming in from different backgrounds, or is it usually pretty straight down the line, they're looking for the exact experience?
Yeah, I would say it really depends on the role, right? So for instance, we're hiring our first product marketing manager. For a role like that, where it's the first person in the company that's really going to set the pace on how we do product marketing internally, we are more strict, because obviously as a sole person in the team, we need them to come with a certain knowledge and experience, and basically be able to say, this is the way that we should be doing this year, right? And it's that impact piece. For other roles, it might not always be the case. So I think this is very much a case-by-case basis. It's a little difficult for me to give kind of like a blanket answer here. What I would say is, if you're in a situation in which you do want to consider a potential career change or functional change, and you're not sure whether a specific role might be a good fit, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to share, for this role, we really are looking for this specifically. For this role, we might be a little bit more flexible. The other thing I would say is, and this is not to discourage anybody, please don't take it this way. We go through absolutely every message and application that comes our way. Sometimes it takes time. We are a team of 2.5, basically the people team. It takes time, but we do go through absolutely every application. We get quite a bit of interest. So sometimes it can be a bit competitive, right? And what we do from that hiring perspective is, we will always get the person that we believe is the best fit for the role. And that includes both those technical skills, whatever we want to call that piece of experience, or knowing certain systems, etc. And obviously that part about, is this person really going to thrive in Gitbook? Is this person going to be able to add on to our culture, to behave in a way that we know is going to help us achieve our results collectively, right? So this is the mandate that we always have for every person that comes into the team.
Thank you so much, and that's really important to remember as well. But great that you said it, that these things do take time, because you take a lot of care in going through every application. So, that's good to know. Got some questions about some of the things you mentioned in terms of the technical perks and things, which a few questions about them. Does salary vary by country? Because you mentioned 15 countries. Just wondering, that's probably something that quite a lot of people are curious about in lots of different companies as well. And then the parental leave that you mentioned, because we have like statutory parental leave, and I'm sure every jurisdiction has their different legislation. So is it like paternity leave that you meant, or is it, could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So on the compensation side, we do have a location-based, remote-first compensation model. So we do take into account where people are located. Different reasons to do this. Obviously, we want to make sure that what we do is as equitable and fair as possible to everybody that that is and is coming into the company. Little caveat, we are updating our compensation model, so this is very much a work in progress. It's on our people roadmap, and we are going to finish this by end of year. So this, it will continue to be a location-based model, but exactly how we do it might be slightly different. Hopefully, at that point, we will be able to share something, and I'm happy to talk more about this if anybody wants to know when we do have something in place, right? And then the second part was the parental leave. So yeah, thank you for this question, and I do think it needs to be clarified. So we will always do whatever is more favorable for the person in any case, either what is required locally or our own policy, right? And that's one of the things that we try to do to be as fair as possible with having people in 15 different countries. It's, I don't know, I'll give you an example. In Panama, the parental leave is 3 months, and in Spain it's 5 months or so. I don't know, something like that. What we do is basically set an amount that we say, okay, well, if locally you're entitled to 5 months, that's fantastic. Obviously, you get 5 months. But if you're in a country where maybe you get 3 months or 2 months, no, you're still going to get 16 weeks, right? So that's what we're trying to do with this policy, and that is parental in general.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's great to get that clarity. There's a few about the application as well. How people, so here's one for, say, the content marketing manager position. How might people stand out in an application? It's a big one. And then another one about the interview. How do you test for culture fit? Because you mentioned there, that's a big part of it. You know, there's a paper application and you're looking at their skills and experience, but how do you actually measure and gauge a culture fit? Because that's the most important thing.
Yeah. How to stand out? That is a really good question. Look, again, my answer to everything in life is it depends. Please don't kill me for that, but it depends, right? So for instance, a role like the content marketing role, something that would definitely help stand out is actually sharing samples of content you have written or worked with in the past, because that's going to help give us an idea of, something very tangible of what you can do. So I think that, that is one example. Same, for instance, for a visual designer, sharing the portfolio, we definitely look at those too. Cover letters are not mandatory for us. It's not necessary for anybody to write a cover letter. But if you do send us a message or something highlighting if you worked in a similar environment or with similar challenges in the past, it always helps. So for instance, something like if you've been part of a company that has grown through similar growth, that might be relevant to us. So basically highlighting your experience, background, education, whatever you want to highlight that you believe is what sets you apart in the context of Gitbook. And now that you know a little bit more about what's happening next in that context, that obviously really helps us in the people team a lot and gets us very excited. That one about standing out, and there was another question.
Culture fit. How do you test
culture fit? Right, culture fit. Yes. So we do behavioral-based interviews. Basically, the whole premise of competency-based or behavioral-based interviews is that if somebody has demonstrated a competency in the past, then we can assume that they have that skill and they will be able to replicate that same behavior in the future. So, for instance, I'll give you an example, something like working effectively as a team. We might ask you a question like, can you share an example of a time where you had you were working as part of a team and you had a collective goal? What was your role and what did you do to help achieve it? Something along these lines. And it's about sharing an example of how you have done this in the past, and that helps us see that you will be able to do this in the future again.
Okay, cool. So we're coming towards the end, guys. About 5 minutes, so we've got a few more questions very quickly for Lilian, and really throwing them at you today, so thanks so much, Lilian. And Graham has just posted a little form there. It's a little review or like a survey on today's session. Hopefully the more feedback we get, the more we can offer these and make them all the more valuable for everybody. So please do have a look at that link. One question I had was from So I'm asking if they can sign up for Gitbook beforehand to experience it, to, you know, maybe in advance and in preparation for the application, to get a feel for it. Is there any way that they can do that as a, you know, as a potential sort of applicant?
Yeah, yeah, of course you can. You can just sign up directly on the page and play around and then try it out, for sure. Yeah.
Good stuff. And just about the application as well, is it something, would you said you don't do cover letters? Do you have a video element to your application? And if not, do you ever get videos from people? Because I know some remote
Yeah.
companies do that.
Yeah, we don't have it as a standard step in our process. We have used it in the past for specific situations. We do get videos. We watch them. We definitely enjoy them. So if you are comfortable in a video format more than a written format, that's absolutely fine. You can just send that in the system through the application as well. But yeah, so normally we don't. Obviously, we see a lot during the video interview. We get to know the person, and so that kind of replaces a little bit that video format. We have used it, but it's not a standard thing.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And then you mentioned that the marketing team is going to grow. So are you open to speculative applications, for instance, from marketing people? Is that something that you open to and you advertise?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Donald?
Are you do you accept speculative applications for roles that maybe you aren't advertising yet? For instance, if your marketing team is
Yeah.
growing, is it something that you would read, that you would take?
Yeah, for sure. We are in the process of setting up a specific either job posting or email where you can do that. We don't have it at the moment, so in the meantime, what I would say is feel free to shoot me a connect on LinkedIn and just send me a message on LinkedIn or send me an email. I'm happy to share my email as well afterwards.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to ask you. What's the best way for people to reach you? Probably LinkedIn. So maybe if we get the LinkedIn, we can just share it in the chat box now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Mike said, "Gracias, Lilian. You make it sound like a great place to work." And I'm sure there's been so much in there. We're coming to the end now, so thanks very much, Mike, for being here, and thank you to everyone for coming along and taking time out of your day. And thank you so much for Lilian being here to share so much valuable information about the inner workings of Gitbook, about the culture, about the open rules right now. I mean, to answer those questions, there's actually loads in those questions as well. So it's people watching back or they've learned a lot. So there's Lilian's LinkedIn there. Graham's just posted. Thank you, Eugene. Thanks for coming to get. Thank you, Savina. And yeah, Lilian, really appreciate it. And we'll also send out some information after this event in an email to everybody who's registered, with some information about how you can contact Grow Remote about any questions, and also specifically link you up with Aisling, who is our recruiter, and just for any personal conversations or questions that you have. Shaifali, thank you very much. Jennifer, thank you. Terry, thanks a million. Okay, Lilian, really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. You've all been wonderful. I mean, a big like thank you to Donald and Ashling. They've been helping me for weeks now, so thank you. And yeah, if there are any other questions that we didn't get to, I'm happy to answer those async as well.
Brilliant, Lilian. Thank you. And thanks, Kristen. Thank you, Irina. Really appreciate you guys coming along. Thanks, Tunde. Thanks, Manash. Okay, guys, have a lovely lunchtime and have a lovely weekend too. See you guys.
Bye.